Hello, everyone. You thought we didn't survive 3 episodes, but here we are, 4th one. So
is it the 4th one or 3rd one?
It's the 4th one, and we are in 1% of podcasts in the world. So congratulations to us.
It was struggle.
It was like we even got a comment where a person said like, "Oh, they say podcasts do not survive 3 episodes." I was like, "Yes, thank you for reminding us."
Well, life happens. I started working, and that changed so much. It turns out we don't have time for anything.
Yeah, it changed everything. Not so much.
Right now, he has a lunch break, and I just work part-time, and I have to come back to work. So I just came home to...
Yeah, the sacrifice is real. So you got to respect the sacrifice, because she was driving just literally from work just to continue...
podcast.
The podcast. Yeah. Yes. So today we want to talk and discuss the probably like top few things that were not confusing, but
impressive.
Yeah. When we came to this country from Ukraine, being Ukrainians living in Ukraine for all our lives, then
we traveled a lot. We've seen other countries. We've seen the world.
Yeah, we've seen Asia, we saw Europe, we've been to US a couple of times. I've been to Canada once before we came here. So we've seen quite
some countries.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, long story short, we are immigrants here and we are permanent residents. So that means so much. Like, we can dedicate the whole podcast how my wife changed since we got permanent residency. So before that, she was like, we're in this country, everything is new. And then when we got a PR card, she's like opening a door from city council with her foot.
Not because of PR, because we own a house, we buy a house. So, come on. I pay taxes, so I have the right to ask where the taxes go. That's fair, honestly.
They're building some kids' playground around the corner, and she's like, "I'm gonna go and see what are they building." Like, see in the console the plans and
yeah, they sent me a plan, and that was really nice. Like, I liked it, and all people there working, they're really nice. So
I'm all up for it. Do that in your town too. Like, be active part, but the sudden twist in her approach to these things. Yeah,
we both work.
Cool.
We own a house. We pay a lot of taxes from our salary and the property tax. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it with an angry attitude.
No.
I'm doing it like, hey, I live here.
You're passive aggressive.
I'm not passive aggressive. I'm nice and polite. Like, I have the right to ask, so why not ask, right? Honestly, the only reason why I asked about the playground that is being built, because we have a special needs son, and I was wondering if there will be accessible swing, because he loves it so much. And I was hoping that I will get one, and they told me there will be one. Oh. I haven't seen it yet, but that's the thing that bothered me.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, today we want to share a couple of things, and I will start. Okay. First thing that impressed me, probably in a bad way, was when I truly realized, and I was like, yes, this is true, because first couple of times I couldn't believe it. I thought like, it's my, how I am, that most of the times, and if something happens for the first time, I tend to think that
it's an accident.
I didn't quite understood everything, but when I realized in what state all the telecommunication industry is in Canada, I was like surprised a lot. Like, you
were disappointed.
That's to say the least, disappointed, because I usually say, like, whenever someone asks me if they want to come to Canada and live here, what are my thoughts about this country, being here for almost 3 years, I'm like, everything is great, but
don't use the cell phone.
Yeah, your cell phone and internet service providers would be like remember, like, we had those in 2004 in Ukraine. Like, everything about telecommunication here is Ukraine 2004. So
and
20
the
years
price
ago.
is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Guys, how do you handle it? Like I had the same package that I have here in Ukraine, and I paid
No, I
five,
yeah.
maybe
So
six.
I think it's not a secret. We have obviously both of our cell phone plans. We have home internet and our daughter's cell phone plan. Yeah, we pay $400
No,
a month.
that includes the internet of your parents because it's in our plan, but they pay for it.
Okay,
So are in
$300.
maybe three.
Yeah, that's correct. $300, and sometimes for some reason each month we have some internet data overdraft.
No, we changed our plan to avoid that.
The other month I go visit like US, and then it's roaming, and every month we have something extra for some reason, so we pay at least $300. And
insane.
in Ukraine,
It's not worth it.
in Ukraine, we had absolutely the same 3 cell phone plans.
No, our daughter didn't have the cell phone then.
Okay.
But okay, let's edit, right?
Yeah, 2 cell phone plans and home internet, which was faster than what we have here. I would say like, okay, we live in a little small town. It's not a Toronto, for example, because in Ukraine we lived in Kiev, and so yeah, probably even in Ukraine, the further you go from the big city, the more expensive internet is, but still not proportionally as bad as here. Yeah. So the long story short, we had this pretty much the same thing or better for 300 hryvnias a month.
It's $10.
It's a $10. So
Okay,
we got
let's make it-
$10, and here we go.
Wanting to add our daughter's phone. Just trick your teeth. And honestly, like we had a lot of mobile data.
Yeah.
And
No one ever thought like
I
when
never
it's-
thought about like watching something on YouTube or Netflix or on my phone, because I would never end up being over using it.
last time anyone in Ukraine thought about, oh, how much traffic I used this month. I need to make sure that I won't go above my limit. Like last time anyone in Ukraine had this thought was 2010. I'm not joking. Since then, like it became so cheap and so reliable and so fast and so progressive. Like it's not only cost, everything about telecommunications, like all over, like I'm not even starting about banking. Banking, like let's just move to another, like I'm not sure.
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, just to wrap up with the telecommunication, not only prices and quality of the service, but the quality of customer service. That's just not even, like, it's insane. It's just...
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's just like your temper, tryout. Like they're trying to... From the very first second, they're doing their best to piss you off. Like it's in our family, I don't deal with Belle. My beautiful wife took care of this because I just cannot stand it.
My nervous system is just dead by now.
Yeah.
So he still has some nerve cells, so he's saving them. I don't have nerve cells anymore, so I can deal with the Bell, courier services, delivery services.
No, those are like, we don't deal with those. Like they just
those, but there have been a few times that I was going crazy.
Yeah, they just leave stuff at your on your porch, which is to be fair, we didn't have that, and that's another thing that is very surprising and very like I love it about living here is Amazon. And
we don't have Amazon in Ukraine.
Yeah, we don't have Amazon in Ukraine. We have a big online store that kind of like acts like one and like portrays it and tries their best, and they're awesome. They have a lot of different innovations. Like I don't think you guys have Postmats, which is like a shelf or lockers in your.
No, I got a package in the public postal boxes. But they're just
no, that's just Post. But we're talking in Ukraine, they have like, especially in crowded like sleeping areas where we call it sleeping areas, where there's a lot of buildings and people move there just to sleep, and then they go the other side of the town just to work.
It's not a ghetto. It's just
it's just, we call it sleeping part. So they would have it like a residential building, multiple stores, and on the first story they would have like a shelf of lockers that you come to with your cell phone. You scan QR code and it's opens the locker, and you take your delivery. So kind of like Amazon delivers to your door, where it's more secure. And
well, you can't leave anything on the doorstep in Ukraine. Like,
I don't think
stolen.
I don't think they leave it in Toronto either. Like, I cannot imagine Amazon leaving. And if you live in Toronto or another big city,
crime is higher.
Yeah, let me know if Amazon leaves stuff at your
porch.
Amazon
is amazing. Like, this is something we didn't have, and it's very convenient.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and not
use it a lot.
and not just fast delivery and this convenient delivery. The amount of things to choose from. Whenever you want to buy any like little crap, you can find.
Why would you buy crap?
Yeah, you can find multiple choices of the choice-wise, Amazon is amazing. But
you can buy anything, like groceries, clothes, shoes, like whatever you need, you can buy. And this aspect in Ukraine, we don't have it, because for groceries, there is one service, which also, like, another thing that I thought about saying, there's Instacart that does the grocery delivery from different.
Oh, that's the one you applied to be a driver?
Yeah, I tried a few times. I did few orders, and it's very inconvenient, and it's
you have to do it full time.
You have to do it full time. That's exactly
impossible to be like a side hustle, because you ended up being like,
I got $30 for a day out of home driving out of the place. But here there's Instacart. But in Ukraine, the delivery of groceries, I would go, there's a huge website that collaborates with different grocery stores, and I would make an order that would last us like for 2 weeks. Since COVID started, the service really got improved, and they bring everything to your home. It's a huge truck with freezers, with fridges, with thermal bags and everything, and they bring everything to your doorstep. They can even bring it into your kitchen if you want. And I was ordering everything. I would go into the store just to grab like a pack of milk or something that needs to be like, oh, I ran out of it. There is no point in making a huge order. But I would order our groceries with it. It would be free. And I order in the evening, and in the morning, like by 10 a.m., it's on my doorstep.
It has the downsides, because when it comes to fruits and vegetables, you don't get to choose what you take, and you just deal with whatever they bring you. And sometimes they would bring something not really in a good shape. But
you can always tip the person that gathers your order, and then they will do the rest.
I didn't know that. But I would open the door of our a residential building. We lived on a 6th floor. So I would open a door and I see the elevator. It opens and the dude gets with a trolley. Trolley and the pack of like boxes that I couldn't see him, and he would start unloading the bags straight to our front door. Yeah. So that was amazing. But if we touched the topic of different technological things, then probably banking is another thing. But here I will say this, that we might not yet found a bank that would do anything like we had in Ukraine. But in Ukraine, we had a 2012 and earlier banking system, which was something like you guys have now. Well, like you would have, we didn't have apps there back then, because apps weren't a thing back then. But we had like, you have to show up to your branch. You have to do papers. Like, there was a lot. Then there was a sudden switch to like digitalization and everything went into the apps, and we had a like certain period of time, like 5-7 years, where it was simple and it was okay, and you could do a lot of stuff in apps, and there was less and less need to go to the branch. But then once it all switched to what's called neo banking. You guys, I saw that some banks here in Canada also call themselves a neobank. Neobank is usually it means that there's no branches at all, like it's a digital bank. But they can issue a card, they have an app, and they have like all the infrastructure. Obviously, there are ATMs where you can withdraw money. Like all this banking stuff is available, but it's not like there's no way you can go somewhere. And what they advertise is that they saved all that money for branches and pay it to their like a support system, like people who pick up the phone or sit in the chat. And those are like the highest level possible. Like you would sometimes type it, like I know people that sometimes just go to this chat just to have heart-to-heart conversations, because people are like,
really?
No, I know people because the support and what call center, right? Call center is just highest level possible. Support is very rapid. Everything's quick. Everything is clear. And
can I make a comment? Here's an example. I use usually my banking cards in my phone is Apple Pay, and I used to have like a plastic card, and it expired in a month or two after we came to Canada. Ukrainian card, Ukrainian bank. I still have money there, and I didn't bring the plastic with me because I haven't used it for 5 years. Like,
no one uses plastic.
Yeah, like my mom uses plastics, and every like we got the plastic cards. But here's the thing: when I came to the bank to open the account, I was given the plastic card right away at the spot where I opened the account.
If you want to open an account,
credit card,
takes you an hour.
A debit card, a credit card, whatever. They just have a stack of cards. They're all sealed in packages. There's a default PIN code that you're required to change once you have it. But they just pull out a random envelope and give it to you. They don't know the number. They don't know the date, anything. And then they just scan it and they add it to the app. Yeah. Or you can add it yourself. It just appears in your app. Anyways, I had that plastic and we came together. I didn't have the plastic there. I renewed the card. I still have it. I still have it in my phone. It's still working. It's the same account, different plastic. I never order same, like different card details, right? But I changed my phone number attached to the banking account. I changed my address. I can buy tickets, transportation, invest money. I even opened the application. So I can buy insurance without any interaction with real human being.
Banking app.
I can take a credit. I can sell things, buy things. I can do charity. I can order services. I can order money, like cash amount of money to be delivered to the branch through my app. So I don't have to leave home.
Those things are not impressive. Like
why?
Those not impressive because when this is not neobank.
This is not neobank, but this is still better than
it's still better than anything here.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're talking like probably you saw that Apple introduced that you can balance 2 iPhones and transfer your your contact details, your photos, and you can transfer money like this between phones. So neobank in freaking Ukraine introduced the same thing like 5 years ago, where you would just have 2 phones near and you would shake them. You both open an app, you both shake the phones, and the transfer between 2 phones just comes through seamlessly. There was like a lot of things like that.
Also, another thing that I've never seen in Ukraine before is when you transfer money from one account to another. Like when I transfer money from my debit account to my credit card
No, I don't know.
account.
It takes, you know what happens? People in in your local branch, they withdraw money, they put it in a box, in a backpack, and they start traveling. They start traveling across the country. If you transferred overseas, like they're gonna take a plane ticket and fly with your money.
That's such a personal.
They just they just don't want to make sure that it goes through. That's why it takes freaking 4 days.
But honestly, people, if I make a transfer from my debit account to credit card on Friday, I won't see those money until Tuesday morning. This is insane. The bank is using my money for 4 days for free. This is not fair. In Ukraine, if I didn't see my money in like 5 or 10 minutes on another account,
we're calling,
and they're saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," and "Excuse me," and they're doing everything they can because
it's not
you're going to take us the money for free. This is my money.
If you didn't know, like we had that, like I said, before 2012, 2010.
I don't remember.
In that era, we had the same thing where when she says bank is using your money, it's not only if you thought that it's a technological bottleneck or whatever that doesn't allow you to see your money right away. No, they have all these bots, scripts for their software, which uses these time gaps to invest money somewhere and get a little percentage out of it for this day or even an hour or even 10 minutes. When it does that for the whole amount of users of bank
billions of dollars,
they make a lot of money just by delaying your transfers. So they are using your money to get rich. So yeah, and then it's just, I can go on and on about neobanking, but it's just ridiculous how bad. Maybe, and like I started this point, maybe we just didn't found a bank that can do that. I started to see some neobank, banks that call themselves neobanks here in Canada. I still didn't have a chance to try them, but if you have a personal experience and you know that the app is very cool, you can do a lot of different stuff and it is fast, it is just let us know. Maybe it's us.
What about good things? I've got good things.
We started to whine right from the start.
No,
people love negative stuff on YouTube.
Honestly,
we might get rich and famous finally.
Well, honestly, those little things, and they don't bother us every day. We just got used to this stuff. But what I find really important for me, I was born in Kiev. That's the capital of Ukraine. That's a city larger than Toronto, and you too. And when we were we have 4 kids, and one of our kids has a disability. So for us back in Ukraine, it was never an option to move out of a big city, because once you leave the city, you can wait for you can call an ambulance and wait for it for an hour. You can die before it comes. There's no good hospitals. There's very bad internet connection. You always have to drive somewhere for groceries far. There are small satellite towns around Kiev, and there are other medium-sized towns where the infrastructure is really good. Usually, if you move to a town that will the size of our town we live right now here in Canada, you wouldn't have a hospital, you wouldn't have a grocery store, a choice of groceries.
You would have roads.
Yeah, it would probably have one road or something. Yeah. So in Ukraine, the infrastructure in small towns is very bad. There is none. And here, when we were coming to Canada, we were coming as a group of his employees, And we're like, we're going to this town. And we're like, what is this? And I looked at the map, and it's such a teeny tiny spot. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was
what
terrifying.
What are we gonna do there? And
because we thought that a small town, we had some certain impression of what a small town
what
is
to expect
from our own experience in Ukraine, but little that we know that.
Yeah, we came here, and I realized past the adaptation and adjustment period, let's say this.
Yeah, that's important.
We realized that living in a small town in Canada is incredibly convenient. Like, there's hospital.
Or people would.
There's one hospital close.
Yeah.
One a bit further, which is still good. A huge choice of like grocery stores and cafes and restaurants.
And even entertainment, like.
Entertainment? No, there's no entertainment. And there's
like when to throw axes.
That's fine.
But you can throw axes.
There's a very limited choice of extracurricular activities for the kids. But still, like, if you ignore those things, you can live here. You have internet connection. You have everything to work. You can go to a larger city to work, to shop, and everything. Like, it's convenient for everyday life with kids.
Very important to mention that it is very convenient and very cool and so on if you have a household that works from home.
Yeah, he works from home. So for us, it doesn't really matter where we live. And
that's important because I cannot, like, sometimes I would wake up and think, what if I had to drive to Toronto like every day? Would that be like what would our life be? What would our car be like? It would be like we would have to change cars like every year or so because we live like 100 kilometers from Toronto.
Yeah.
But
overall, the idea of a small town in Ukraine and in Canada is so different.
It is very different.
It was a really nice, it was unexpected, amazing thing to realize that you can still live in a small town, have all the necessary daily stuff, but still avoid the traffic, avoid the drug use, the horrible smell, the dirt and everything. It's funny
that you're getting used to it, and you're getting used to living in a small town with the no traffic and everyone is chill. And nice. Then whenever you go to Toronto, in my case, like I want to go there like once a month. And that's it because of the traffic.
So like go there once a month.
Yeah, I don't even go. Like most cases, I go there only to drive someone to airport or IKEA. But hopefully, we'll stop going to IKEA. Freaking. Okay, so so whenever we go there, I had to drive, it's just horrible. Like, but I know that I had the same kind of experience driving around town in Kiev, and I was like, okay, because you're getting used to being in the stressful situations on the road, and it doesn't get you stressed. But then when you live in the town where you're driving and like 45 kilometers residential area, I'm good. I'm good with 40. Like 45 is too quick. Like I'm such an old person at my driving. My driving is like an old man, yeah. But whenever I go to Toronto, I'm like, no, I'm not getting back there. I'm not going back there anytime soon.
Yeah.
But
that was a good thing about Canada. We really changed our mindset about living in a small town. We really enjoy it. I don't think I will ever want to live in Toronto or something because it's such a waste of time. And I get like it takes me an hour to get to Toronto, but living in Toronto will get me an hour to get to the same spot from here.
She goes there pretty often because of sick kids appointments. It's a hospital for our kid, and sometimes she goes there way more often than I do. But every time I'm there, and obviously every time we both there, we're like, do we want to live in that apartment or like a condo on top of that building? Like, do we want to live there? And like every time the answer is no. Like everything.
No, like there are probably perks to it and like pros to it, but having for kids right now, like our kids can go in the backyard and jump in trampoline.
Yeah.
Play with their friends
Of course,
on the
it's a
front
matter
yard.
of
But in an
money.
apartment building, like back in Ukraine, we lived in a very small, like there was a block of apartment buildings. It was fenced. It had security guards. And our kids would play in the playground just with other kids that lived in the same like in the buildings around. And that was safe. But
Because no one gets there. No one can get there.
yeah, like only those who live or officially invited, like your guests, can get into the...
But you have to call security gate, and so that they will open for your guests. It's a whole procedure. So there's no
It
way.
was very safe and nice. So, like, well, it did an apartment, but it was kind of feel of living in the house because they could go outside anytime. And I would hear them playing on the playground right next to our house. But here, living in a 24, 25-story building with 4 kids, what would they do?
First of all, I
play in an elevator?
Yeah, I think we're biased in a lot of sense because, first of all, I think there are a lot of places in Toronto the same way where you can be pretty much secure living.
I'm not selling my kidney for that.
Yeah, liver. You first sell liver. Yeah.
Liver, kidneys, everything.
You have to sell everything.
Just sell.
Yeah, you have to sell. But whenever it's always of course, it is everything up to a budget. But whenever you think, all right, for $1 million, not like $2 million, you can afford a nice place to live in Toronto. Let's say $2 million.
Maybe $1.5 million, maybe 2. Yeah.
Let's say
you buy a house.
No. Let's say the house that we own here, that would be 3.
No, I don't think so.
That would be 3 in Toronto.
Maybe it depends on the part of Toronto.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that whenever you think about any number of a comfortable or semi-comfortable living inside a city, you can afford so much more and so much better driving 50 kilometers out, even 50, well, not to mention 100. But when it comes to 100 or 50, it's still an hour or half an hour. And you are in Toronto if you need. Remember I said, I sometimes wake up and think, what if I would needed to go to Toronto daily? I would still do that. I would be doing.
Yeah, we have friends that
who did that before COVID. He said before COVID, everyone drove or took a train from that town that we live in, or even it is even further from the Toronto, 10 additional minutes. And he said, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, I would drive there because you drive somewhere, you leave a car, you sit on a train, you start working on the train on your laptop, you're going back home, you drink a beer already.
You get a carpool.
Yeah, you're getting used to anything, but in terms of living, it's ridiculous. There's no.
I like it. I like that it's very quiet here, and it doesn't smell what we eat.
Yeah, there's no smell of meat in our town, which is surprising. And
I love our neighbors because most of our neighbors are people who are retired.
Yes.
And honestly, I love it because it's absolutely nice and quiet and cozy and safe. And I totally enjoy it.
And our kids, I'm always worried that our kids gonna mess something up, and they're
and they do.
And they're all happy that we have did some, because this is a house complex where bunch of houses on a neighborhood, right? It's a neighborhood. And then it's 20-something years old.
20 years old, yeah.
As we were told, most of the people who lives here, they kind of moved in whenever it was built. So they lived there 20 years. Most of them are seniors, and they haven't seen kids for a while. So.
No, kids come, but still. Yeah. I enjoy it so much. I would never trade it for anything else. And I
live in a retirement home.
But that's fine.
No, we love it.
I love it. And I realized that recently I talked to our daughter, our oldest, and probably we would be considering moving from this house only if we have over $1 million to buy a house that my dream.
Or is 1.5 probably, because
closer to 2 maybe.
Yeah, there's no way there's no, when we think about it, probably I wanted to say the same thing, that when we think about it, was like, there's not enough reason to change this house. We definitely, having a hot tub, we realize that we definitely do not want pool.
Yeah.
So that's out of the discussion. We would definitely have use of a bigger yard, like backyard, front yard. 2-car garage would be nice. Like,
and the laundry room.
Yeah.
Our laundry room is on our way to the garage.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah, it's a mudroom and laundry room, so oftentimes clothes...
Yeah, so there are little things, but you have
they
to...
They don't cost extra
Yeah.
700 or 500 though.
Not a chance. Like, you have to have... Next house that we're gonna own should have to be way, way, way better than this one. Because this one is awesome.
And I realized that my dream and his dream and our daughter's dream is to own a historical building, a very old house that has a personality,
right?
That is like that is full of history.
I know what it means.
Not to change anything.
Yeah. People call crappy, smelly, squeaking houses. It has a character. It has a personality.
It doesn't have to be smelly, but still, like,
we just came back from our friends who live in the house, renovated heritage house. It's 200 years. It's 180. It's 180.
Oh, it's just the same that we looked before buying this one.
Yeah,
right.
180 years, and it's renovated with all the money in the world. Like, it's
everything.
Yeah, they did everything, saved everything that could have been saved.
Original,
like a door with a huge crack on it. Like they have a lot of it's done with attitude, right? But it does. You told me it smells.
It has.
I didn't
but
notice
you can
the smell.
That you can remove that. You can do things to help to get rid of it. But still, like, my dream is to live in a historical building.
So basically, your dream is to have all the money in the world, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We
I
settled on that.
One day we will be able to, but otherwise, I don't see any point in moving from here.
Amen.
So we were talking about what impressed us in Canada.
We moved somewhere else. That's the best podcast you can.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about is buying and selling new stuff and donating things.
Yeah. So just recently, it was a really funny joke, and I forgot to tell you that because I've heard that. You said something, I was going downstairs, and then when I came to the office, I realized I have a joke, and I was too lazy to go back and
my God.
tell it to you.
He lives in this basement in his dungeon and never leaves it.
But there's a store, a woman's clothing store called Garage, right?
Yeah.
And you said you bought your vest in Garage. It was a winter vest, but you bought it in the summer.
In summer.
It was like $20 or something. And I was, it took me like 20 seconds. I was like, it was a garage sale.
Well, it actually was.
It was a garage sale. Oh my God, I'm so funny.
Oh, you're so funny.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I know. My teenage daughter always says, "Oh, you're so funny." But so garage sales, not that one that I mentioned, but overall, the culture of garage sales is amazing.
Like, you're gonna have one next year.
It solves so many, not problems, but like, probably problems. A lot of people accumulate a lot of crap, and to have a culture where it's okay to usually throw it all on your front yard and sit there whole day waiting for someone to buy your crap, like it's awesome, because there's a saying, right? One man's trash, other man's treasure.
Yeah, like, we put so much amazing stuff on the garage sales, and I when we just came here, I didn't understand, like, why would people sell you stuff for so cheap? You paid for it.
Yeah.
Because in Ukraine, when you sell something used, you make it a bit cheaper, because things in Ukraine cost a lot. It's expensive to afford toys, clothing, and if you want to sell something, you sell it so that you could buy something else, and it's very expensive.
Here, people sell it
It often doesn't make sense.
recycle, probably.
Yes, in Ukraine, most of the times it doesn't make sense to buy something used because you add just like extra 20% and you buy the same thing, like new one.
Yeah.
But here, it costs me money to take it to the dumpster.
Yeah.
So I'd rather donate it or sell it like for $3.
Yeah, we have a problem. We changed toilet for our kids' room, like a toilet itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it still stays
To remove it from the porch and
stays at our porch because I don't know what to do, and it's very expensive to.
It's not very expensive. It just takes time. It will cost us like $10 or $15, but still
$15. I can buy.
Well, you cannot sell it.
I can buy a lot of crap on garage sale for $15, and now I have to pay $15 to get rid of something.
And like one thing is donating, like
maybe that's someone's treasure.
That's not treasure. That's trash for everyone. but I get it. Like when people sell cheap, like cups, plates, toys, clothing, because it's
instruments, everything for your garage is.
But when people donate furniture, that was one thing that really surprised me when I came to Canada. Like people will give away perfectly nice, I don't know, couches, tables, shelves, like
one
side, and then I realized that it will cost them money to throw it away.
One thing, like all our Ukrainian community realized when we came here, that whenever you go to garage sale, you have to keep quiet and do not mention that you're from Ukraine, because otherwise people like. I was in a situation, my parents were in a situation, and many times that you say something like, how much for this thing? And the person said like $10. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they start saying something. I start replying something. And they're like, where are you from? I'm like, from Ukraine. Oh, take this for free. Take that. Take it. You don't have to pay. Like, and I'm like, oh my God. There's so many times people try to give away stuff that they were selling. It is just so nice. It is very nice. It's crazy nice, but it's very awkward.
Very awkward.
Yeah,
no.
It's you tend when you are in such situations regularly, and when we came here, it was the case. You start to think like you're taking advantage of people.
Using people.
Yeah, you're using people. And it's just like awkward, and especially for a bunch, like most of the people who came here, we didn't have any sort of like that experience that people give away a lot of valuable stuff that you currently need for free just because of, some reason. So, yeah,
when we came here,
just don't mention that you're from Ukraine. That's
and when we just came here, we had a lot of support from volunteers and stuff. And there was in the town that we live in, there was a retirement like center for seniors, and it was
a cultural center for seniors. Not.
So they removed everything from there and they filled it with clothing.
It's important to say that they didn't use it.
They didn't use it.
So it's not like we removed senior people from
No. They don't live there. Like it's a place for them to meet up and have communicate and stuff.
Yeah, it's club.
So it was kind of club. So all the volunteers from this county where we live, people donated furniture, dishes, clothing, bedding, toys, books.
Donated or bought, because there was a lot of boughting stuff. Like for kids and for adults, like piles and piles.
Yes, and when we came, like all of us came here with a suitcase. Like when you buy an airplane ticket, you get a suitcase, right? So you only get to bring one suitcase of your stuff, and you obviously don't bring like pots, pans.
Yeah, sorry. Can I interrupt you? Because it's very important to mention that we came with suitcases with everything we could afford to put on a plane, but that doesn't mean that we didn't have money, or we were that's all these movies that war happened somewhere and then person lost everything. there are many cases like this, unfortunately, in Ukraine, and there are people who came to Canada in this, and they are in this kind of situation where they lost everything,
and they already have what they brought with them.
Exactly. But a lot of times people came here fast, and they didn't prepare for immigration, and they took only whatever they could, and all of their assets were frozen in Ukraine, which means, yes, when we came here, we had like real estate, we had a car, but it was all in Ukraine. And at that point of time, we didn't know if we ever see it, if we ever be able to sell it, or a rocket gonna hit the building and we're gonna lose everything. Like, we didn't know anything. We knew only that we have some money on our bank account, which was not a lot, and then whatever we brought. So anytime we saw that there is a way or a place where we could take a toothpaste or a toothbrush for free.
Well, like maybe not toothpaste or toothbrush, but things like household
toothbrush and toothpaste from that. Like,
see, I don't remember that stuff.
Toothbrush, but toothpaste.
I remember the kids I personally allowed the kids to bring only one toy with them because we needed space in our luggage to fill it with the stuff that we needed at that point.
From Ukraine, take one to
Ukraine. But so it was filled, and we were given. We personally lived with a family. They're our close friends now. I will be forever grateful for them. This is just a godsend family. I can talk about it forever, but still, and other families lived with other families like hosts, and this whole volunteer organization, they provided furniture, they provided everything that we needed. And then when all those families started to move into their places, all those items went with us into our homes. We still have some of it, and I cherish it. And honestly, like, I would probably summarize it as a culture of giving.
Yeah.
Because in Ukraine, if you give away something, it's considered to be either you are very rich or you give away literally trash.
Yeah.
And when we came here, at some point, you remember some of your subscribers started telling us to make an Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
And it was
weird.
That was a shock because people were buying us stuff. And I was literally crying because I didn't expect it. And I left so many necessary things back in Ukraine and we couldn't bring it. At some point, we were starting to sell it. But when people started buying us stuff, we just were giving it away because we got it.
Ours in Ukraine away.
Yeah. Because we thought, like,
if we're
giving it for free, what would be fair to give our stuff for free? So we ended up donating probably 70% of our belongings in Ukraine.
Yeah, it's like I said, like, we got an access to our lifetime
accumulation.
Yeah, lifetime assets probably in a year. Yeah, we sold the car in a year of being here. That was the first financial, input that we, significant input that we had, and we basically used...
We paid off the loan of that car?
Yeah, no.
We paid it off?
No, we paid our car here, not with the... Oh, yeah. Because that car in Ukraine was on a
loan too.
Financing too. Yeah, so we paid it off, and what was left, we brought here, and it was basically money that we spent to buy everything that we needed when we moved to our first house, rented house.
And immigration,
yeah, because immigration is freaking expensive. People, if you see Ukrainians, they probably paid a lot of money. Like people say, whenever you remember, we dedicated a whole podcast to explain what support system is from the government is in place in Canada for Ukrainian refugees. So basically, if someone stayed here, they most certainly spent way more money that they got from government to pay back government to be able to stay here.
That's complicated.
So government invites people and says, here you $1,000, But if you want to stay here more than 2 years, please pay $2,000. That's not the exact numbers, but that's exact proportion. More or less. Like,
yeah,
it's more than government pays Ukrainians, but yeah. So it's just another idea that we did mention on that podcast, that Canadian government gives people who come here rod. They do not give you fish.
Yeah.
So
but I think that's the right thing to do. I am completely against giving people fish and supporting them for a lifetime. I think it's right to give people a tool to be able to build a life.
I think we can go on, but we don't want to take that much. Yeah.
That was about culture of giving. It really impressed me personally very deeply.
I would also mention...
It's very close to me.
Yeah. I would also mention very quickly, another close to that one is a culture of supporting local businesses, because every time, wherever we lived in Kiev, we had local businesses, like a small coffee shop, a small beer shop, or a small pizza place, or whatever. Like, small businesses were everywhere because it's a big town. But there was nothing like someone even mentioned that, hey, don't buy this huge pizza place delivery, just go buy it next door.
A small
to support this person's small business. There was not a case like that.
Nothing.
Yeah. Here, I keep hearing it everywhere. That's why I want to, again, shout out our friends, Ukrainians who came with us. One of my colleagues, they actually opened a business here, a town next to ours called Coburg. If you're ever in Coburg, please visit the cafe Vdoma. It's Vdoma.
Yeah.
Vdoma, which means at home in Ukrainian. And my beautiful wife cooks there. She bakes. What do you bake?
I help while...
she bakes a lot. So if you will be there like next week or two, you might be able to say, hey, can you call the chef? Can you call...
chef.
Can you call Katya? Because I listen to her podcast. I'm a big fan of her podcast.
Please don't embarrass me.
Yeah. It's called Doma. What is the address? 288?
255 Division Street in Coburg.
255.
Yeah, Division Street in Coburg. It's a bakery. We have pies and all
local.
All the sweet and absolutely delicious stuff with real food.
And real coffee.
No replacements for butter, no replacements for sugar, no replacements for milk, like real tasty homemade food.
Yes, it wasn't paid advertisement. It wasn't. So please support local. And thank you for supporting this. Support your local podcast, okay?
Maybe you're local to the people who are watching.
Support your not local podcast. Like, we're in different province, but support this freaking small podcast.
We did it to the 4th episode, so...
You can leave a comment, you can press like, you can share this video. That's all that support we can count on. And thank you very much. We enjoyed this very much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.